Super time.
There is a city where the sun rarely shines. The buildings stand like shadows in the landscape, and the sounds are muffled as if a soft blanket were placed over them. They call it the City of Fog. This is where Ingrid lives. She lives in a house with sloping roofs and windows that fog up even when it's not raining. In her neighborhood, people walk slowly, as if they don't want to wake anyone. Bicycles have no bells, and the postman wears felt under his shoes. Even the dogs in the City of Fog bark quietly, producing a low, hoarse sound that quickly disappears in the fog. Ingrid is used to the silence. She says it feels like a hug that lasts a little longer than necessary. In the morning, she often sits by her window and looks out, even though nothing special happens. But that doesn't matter. That's exactly what she likes. The fog is like a secret that is never quite revealed. Every day, Ingrid goes for a walk. She knows the route by heart, past the old tree with the heart-shaped hole, over the mossy cobblestones, and down toward the lake. She always walks alone, but sometimes, just sometimes, she wishes someone would walk beside her. The lake was hidden behind willows and reeds at the end of a narrow path. Like everything else in the City of Fog, it was quiet. No ducks screamed and no fish jumped. The water lay like a mirror, and the fog slowly slipped away above it. Ingrid sat down on her usual rock. Flat and round, it retained the heat of the day, even when it was chilly. She took a deep breath, as she always did. Here, she could feel the world calming down, even though it was never really restless. But that day, something was different. It wasn't something you could see or hear. It was just a feeling. It was like a tickle on the back of her neck, or the lake whispering something she didn't quite understand yet. She looked out over the water. The fog danced in little spirals. In the middle of it all, where the reflection used to be sharpest, she saw something, a movement. Not a bird, not a branch, not a fish. Something else. Ingrid stood up, but didn't go any closer. She didn't know why, but her heart started beating slightly faster, not out of fear, but anticipation. It was as if she were standing on the edge of something that had been a long time coming. The movement came closer. It was soft, like dew in the wind, slowly taking shape. Not quite human, not quite something else. It was just there. It had no eyes or mouth, yet Ingrid thought it was smiling. It offered a warm, silent welcome. "Are you?" Ingrid whispered, but didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. It didn't answer. It just hovered closer, and Ingrid felt the cold fog caress her cheek, yet it didn't feel cold. "Mura," she said suddenly. She didn't know where the name came from. It just felt right. The foggy friend Mura nodded. Ingrid said nothing more. She just stood and looked at Mura, who was hovering calmly by her side. It was impossible to tell how big Mura really was. Sometimes it seemed small, almost like a child. Other times, it spread out into the air like a cloud with shape and purpose. They started walking along the lake together. There was no conversation, but there was something reminiscent of it, a kind of meaningful silence. Mora slid closer when Ingrid froze at a sound and kept a little distance when Ingrid needed space. It was as if it understood, without having to ask. The lake was surrounded by reeds and old trees, whose branches reached downward as if listening for something beneath the water's surface. The air smelled of wet earth and moss. Everything was soft, the light, the sounds, and the thoughts. Ingrid pointed to something in the reeds, a bird perhaps, or maybe just a branch moving in the breeze. Mora watched but still said nothing. It had a calmness that Ingrid had never experienced before. It was a calm that was contagious. They walked for a long time, maybe only 15 minutes, or maybe a whole afternoon. In the city of fog, time wasn't something you measured. It just happened while you were doing something else. The clearing was only a few meters wide, yet stepping into it felt like entering another world. The fog hung thicker here, as if holding its breath. It was quiet, even quieter than before, but not empty. The silence felt full of something. In the middle of the clearing stood an old bench. The wood was dark with moisture and age, but soft around the edges, as if many had sat there before Ingrid. Ingrid sat down slowly. Mora remained standing next to her, or hovering. It was hard to tell. In front of them grew small plants she had never seen before. Some had leaves as thin as paper. Others had flowers in dusty colors, purple, gray-blue, and pale pink. They looked like dreams that had grown out of the ground in silence. In one place, the ground was bare. Ingrid leaned forward and saw something strange. Small tracks in the ground, not footprints, something else. They resembled the pressure of a toe, a flower, or a thought. She didn't know how to explain them, not even to herself. She looked up at Mora, who was still just there, silent, present, and friendly. "Are you meeting someone else here?" she asked quietly. Mora didn't move, but the air felt like it was saying yes. Or maybe it was a reminder that this place wasn't meant to provide answers, only to be in it. Ingrid noticed how her shoulders had slumped. She was sitting softer now. Her hands were relaxed in her lap. It was as if her body had realized something before her mind did. They sat there for a long time. When the fog thickened and the light faded, Ingrid knew it was time to go. She stood up, said nothing, and started walking back along the path. Mora followed, but more slowly this time. It was as if the path was slipping further and further away without her realizing it. When Ingrid reached the edge of the lake again and looked out over the water, Mora was no longer visible, but she could still feel it. It was like a warmth that stayed in her clothes long after the sun had set. Ingrid went home the same way she had come. She passed the hanging trees, the heart-shaped hole in the trunk, and the smooth cobblestones. Everything looked the same, but it felt different. The fog still hung over the city as it always had, but now it seemed less heavy, more alive. It was as if she had learned to understand its language even though it didn't consist of words. When she arrived home, she quietly opened the door and climbed the stairs to her room. She sat down by the window where she used to sit. Outside, it was almost dark, and the streetlights cast soft circles in the fog. She put her hand against the window. It was cool. Somewhere, either far away or very close, she thought she felt something floating by. Just a hint, like a wordless greeting. Mura. Ingrid smiled to herself. Not a big one, just enough. She crawled into bed, pulled the duvet up to her chin, and closed her eyes. Even though she was alone, it didn't feel that way. Get comfortable, just like Ingrid. Notice how your body rests against the ground. Feel your feet and legs, and notice how they become heavy and relaxed. Feel your hips, back, and shoulders. Let go of your body. Let your arms rest, your hands, your fingers. Feel your face, your jaw relaxing, your tongue resting gently in your mouth, and your forehead smoothing out. Take a slow breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Do it again, calmly in and slowly out. You are here. You are safe. You're not alone. Good night.